All right, Larry Krueger here from the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show with a 49er video as we are 1 day away from what I think is the game of the year. Niners-Bears, Sunday Night Football from Levi's. Both teams roll in 11-4. All right, why are we doing this video in our car the day before the game? Well, the news has come out. Ian Rappaport had the report that Fred Warner is ahead of schedule and with his rehab from ankle surgery and could return for the NFC Championship game or the Super Bowl, according to the rap sheet. Now, how wise is that? I don't know. But you know what? I think that it would give the Niners a shot in the arm. Why? Because to me, this is their biggest issue, is I don't think they have any linebackers that can cover. Being able to cover is a huge part about playing linebacker in 2025, soon to be 2026. You got to cover. It's a passing game. And the Niners had the best coverage linebacker in the game in Fred Warner at the beginning of the year, and then he went down. And since then, they don't have the same kind of coverage. I mean, you saw last week against the Colts, Phillip Rivers, was throwing it to his tight end and to Downs in the slot, and he was just having a field day, just running away from 49er linebackers. So, Eric Kendricks has been called off the practice squad, but he had horrendous coverage numbers last year. He's a good first and second down linebacker, but he doesn't do a whole lot for you in pass coverage. Tatum Bethune last week got isolated in space on that fast surface, and they just picked on him. I mean, I love Tatum Bethune, but he is not a great coverage linebacker in space, especially on a fast surface. So Kendricks is a really good first and second down linebacker, but he's not a coverage linebacker. So, I mean, this will be their undoing. If the Niners go down, it's going to be because their linebackers can't cover. It's not going to be because they don't have a pass rush. It's not going to be because their offensive line was disappointing. I think the offensive line is everybody's favorite whipping boy when it comes to the Niners. Oh, yeah. The offensive line. Okay. The Niners ran the ball pretty well against Indianapolis. I'm not as concerned about the offensive line. I'm not as concerned about the lack of pass rush, because occasionally, you can send 4, and then you can send 5, and then if that doesn't work, you can send 6, and there's things that you can do, and you can blitz smaller guys. And the trend in the sport anyway is to go out, get after the quarterback with smaller guys, DBs, linebackers and DBs, and send those guys at the quarterback. So it's not the pass rush is not as big of a deal. The biggest deal is the Niners, who used to have the best coverage linebackers, can't cover right now. They really can't cover. And so if Fred could get back and just forget the hitting, if he could just run down the field and cover, if he could run and do the things that he did before, you were talking about the best coverage backer in the game. So I discounted it when I first heard it because I just thought it was outrageous, the idea of him coming back. And I still don't think it's in his best interest long term, but I understand he's been fighting his whole career for this Super Bowl, and if the Niners get to the NFC Championship game of the Super Bowl, he wants to be a part of it. He's the leader. This guy is the leader in the room. Curtis Robinson said that to me the other day at his locker. He's like, yeah, man, Fred's our leader. So that is a big story. Now, the NFL has also fined Deommodore Lenoir $11,593 for his late hit when he tried punching the ball away from Jonathan Taylor. This is pathetic. This was This shouldn't have been a penalty, let alone a fine. You got to be kidding me. This is the one thing I can't stand about the NFL. Let's keep the players' money in their pocket. It's the most popular sport in America. The ratings are through the roof. The revenue's off the charts. The players only play for a limited amount of time. Stop taking money out of their pocket for ticky-tack things like uniform violations and penalties. I mean, it was a questionable penalty to begin with. I mean, there was no violence there at all. That's just terrible. That's awful. If I were the Niners, I'd pay that for him. Braden Willis also called off the practice squad and elevated, I should say, and Eric Kendricks. So what does that tell us? Well, the Kendricks thing, I mean, they're trying to get him out there for sure. But as far as the Braden Willis, that could be our indication that George Kittle's not going to go. Kittle's going to be a game-time decision, but the fact that they elevated Willis makes me think that Kittle may not go in this game. Kittle, by the way, did not practice Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. So, the Niners have postseason ambitions, and they need George Kittle there for it. If George can be there Monday night or Sunday night, he will be there. But my guess is that they're not. They're going to lean on Tonjes and Farrell. Also, Coach Yak put this out on John Lynch. He said the first draft board is up and ready. It's subject to a lot of change. It will change a lot, but you got to start somewhere. And when I say start, I mean this has been going on. A lot of these college players we've been watching for 4 years, but now we start to see, and you start to see the strengths of the draft, and that helps you in free agency because we don't need to dabble in this position because we really like the depth and quality of the draft class. So a little bit of John Lynch talking on NBC Sports Bay Area about the 49ers upcoming draft. 49ers right now would pick towards the end of round 1 in the late 20s. It's interesting. You say, what are the 49ers needs? Well, it really kind of depends on a lot of things. Is JJ coming back? Because I think JJ's played well enough to maybe come back. But I really like Jeremy Bernard from Alabama late in the first round for the 49ers as a receiver. To me, I think my favorite offensive lineman is probably Xavier Chaplin from Auburn. He's got the wrestling background. I think he's more of like a, day 2 pick, maybe written around 2, round 3. I think that's the tackle that I really like. I really like Caden McDonald, the big defensive tackle from Ohio State. I think he's a late first-round pick. And offensive tackle-wise, the big barrel-chested Jennings Dunker of Iowa is also another player that I kind of really like. So what is going to be the need? Is it going to be, offensive tackle? Trent Williams said he wants to play several more years, and Colt McKivitz is been near Pro Bowl this year. He's played really, really well at times. So is offensive tackle the biggest need? Is corner the biggest need? I'll say this. If I'm right and the 49ers are going to struggle at coverage linebacker, they may want to look at guys like C.J. Allen from Georgia, who's going to be a late first-round pick. What a great player he is. Anthony Hill from Texas. What a great star he's going to be. So there's some incredible speed linebackers, and those are 2 of my very favorites. So linebacker, all roads with the Niners usually lead back to defensive tackle. So if I was guessing, I'd say Caden McDonald of Ohio State. But interesting. It'll be interesting. We'll, of course, have tons and tons of draft coverage as soon as we get to draft season. All right, that's going to do it. Off to do a little holiday celebration with the fam, and for the rest of the afternoon, watching some college ball, watching some of these pro games. We'll have a video later on today, checking back in, talking more Niners, Bears. I feel good about the 49ers in this game, but it's really going to come down to, can the Niners stop the Bears' rushing attack, and can the Niners force Caleb Williams into a mistake? He's playing really, really good football, and he's really good throwing on the run. All right, we'll have more thoughts on Niners Bears as we get closer. But thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of the Krug Show. Thanks to Sleeper for sponsoring this video, and also thanks to our friends at Habbas Law. Thanks to Habbas Law, 1-800-INJURED. Habbas Law, they will fight to make it right. Thanks to our sponsors. Thanks to all of you guys for supporting the Krug Show on YouTube.